So, like many other popular small builders like Analog Man, there's a long wait list for things like the King of Tone. And ironically, at the time I came up on this particular wait list for this pedal, I actually decided I wasn't going to get it, and then had remorse of not getting it. And and thankfully, because of someone's generosity with their invite for it, they actually gave me their invite. Since I went from being 86 on the list to 380 at this point. This was about 2 weeks ago. So the overdrive I'm talking about is this guy. This is the Case Study Aspen, and what I want to talk about is whether or not this thing actually stacks up against the original Kilt V1. So here I've got the Aspen overdrive set up, and the Kilt V1, trying to get the Kilt V1 as close as I can to the Aspen as a starting point. Part of the reason for it is because the gain on the Aspen, I've noticed, can't get quite as low. Like if you look at it here, the Kilt is already at basically almost noon, while the Aspen has the gain set around 9 o'clock. So here's the clean tone for reference. Here's the Aspen. And then the Kilt V1. I think they both sound really good, but where I'm curious about now is having the gain maxed out on the Aspen and the Kilt to see kind of where the Aspen might actually maybe go above or beyond where the Kilt V1 is. I think it's also fair to state too that these two overdrives really, while they're in the same family of ex Pandora style overdrives, they're still different enough. And I don't know that one is better than the other as much as it is more a question of what you need. But let's just kind of dial in a good tone here on the Aspen first and just kind of see if we can get the Kilt close. Here's the Aspen. So that sounds really cool. I guess on this particular one, the potentiometer, for me, the tone knob being at 11 o'clock sounds really neutral. And it just so happens to be kind of similar for the Kilt. Maybe it could be a little brighter, but let's see what happens if I crank up the gain accordingly on the Kilt. So Aspen again for reference. Kilt V1. Aspen. Let's keep going. Let's do the switch one up on both of them. Leave the gain where it's at and see how the pedals react on each switch. Clean tone again for reference. Kilt V1. Aspen. Back to the Kilt. Aspen. I think both sound awesome. I would say the Case Study probably has more, for lack of a better word, coarseness to the gain. I think the Kilt sounds a little smoother, but still retains being open. The Case Study, I think, can get a little more aggressive. Let's try switching on the other switch here and see how that sounds. We'll start with the Kilt V1. Aspen. Interesting. The Kilt is actually a little more gainy, so let's move this up a bit and see if we can get it closer. Kilt. That's the Kilt right there. Back to the Aspen. Kilt V1. So I think where I'm curious now is the wideness of the tone. Maybe we try setting up like 1 o'clock-ish on both, since they seem to be pretty close. Here's the Kilt V1. Aspen. Kilt. So I'm curious now if I can get the Kilt to sound more close to the Aspen. I'm starting to think, though, the EQ sweep on the frequency itself is actually a little different, too. It might be a little more high mids on the case study. Let's try the Kilt with the tone turned up. Here it is. Aspen. I'm not sure if you could tell in the video, but there's a pokier high mid on the Aspen that isn't on the Kilt. I don't think one is worse than the other again, but it's more preference. I do think there's a space for both of these on one board as well, especially since you can just have one on like one setting and have the other on another setting and just kind of leave it. Let's go into the super fuzzed out area here. Let's start with the Kilt. And then going into the Aspen. Back to the Kilt. I actually think the Kilt is more gainy in this setting, so let's try dialing it back. Kilt. Aspen. Kilt. I think I might prefer the Aspen for this, especially for like higher gain stuff. This is really interesting to me. Let's try dialing the tone back a little bit. Maybe that's also playing a role. 11 o'clock. Kilt. Aspen. I mean, honestly, they both sound really awesome. The cool thing about the Aspen I do like is the control of the bass, and it's not just like a low cut, because now I can get kind of more of it. I think if I go back to the Kilt, turn the low cut on just to see how. Let's turn this up to 1 o'clock here. Aspen. Kilt. Let's turn the tone up a little bit. Aspen. But I feel like this is where I think that high mid thing comes in with the tone. Because if I turn the Kilt up a little more. So yeah, if I max this out, let's. You know what? I think if you want more headroom and more, just more, for lack of a better way to put it, the Aspen's probably a really good choice for you. Because this setting here, it's like almost at noon on everything. Meanwhile, the Kilt is like kind of running up max on everything. So it just kind of depends on how you want to run it. But I do think the Kilt does better for lower gain type stuff. So if you're using for like a always on or stage 1 or something like that, it sounds really good. I still think the mid frequencies or the high mids on the Aspen are slightly different than the Kilt, and I'll max out the Kilt V1 real quick just to see if I'm right. Aspen. Kilt. So let's do tone all the way down, because now I'm curious. That's the Kilt, Aspen. 9 o'clock. We'll do 9 o'clock-ish here. Kilt. Aspen. I'm gonna Kilt a little more. Aspen. Kilt. Let's check the volume real quick. And with it maxed out here. Here's the Kilt, and then let's see how much more gain or volume I have on the Aspen. Here's the Kilt. Aspen. Maybe if we also try boosting. And Kilt. So I think my conclusion on this, I think the Kilt V1 still has a place on my board, as well as the Aspen, and being able to have both of them set to different settings, different clipping switches, and also the case study having a bit more of a EQ control with the bass knob, I think is really sick. I think there's something to be said about the boost option on the Kilt that gives it a slight edge, and lower gain settings. So my conclusion on this is inconclusive, but I think it's fair to say that both these pedals can sit on a board and serve a great stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 purpose for you. It's just a matter of what you're looking for and really what your preference is. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know if you also want to see any other pedals or maybe any other comparisons, with the Aspen or anything else that I might have. But anyway, thanks for watching, and see you later.